Hi everyone, Nicholas Devine, Assistant Professional out here at the magnificent Lake Karrinyup Country Club and back again with another club review. Now tomorrow is the big day. Titleist releases its new driver and it's called the TS. Now it's the first time in a long time that Titleist have walked away from that 900 series name amongst all their drivers and hybrids and they've gone with TS. Now why have Titleist done that? Simply because this driver here, Titleist is saying, is all about speed. Previous models of Titleist driver, even though they've been deadly accurate, and for me personally one of the most accurate drivers out there, their driver has always lacked in getting that little bit of punch off the face and that little bit of distance, and they always spun a little bit too much. So for the higher handicap player who doesn't have that quick of a club head speed, this driver did not work that well. But it did work well for them in the sense of it got them down the middle. But let's face it, everyone is looking for that little bit of extra distance. So Titleist, like I said, went back to the drawing board, went back to their R&D group and said, come up with a driver for us that goes the distance. And here we have the new Titleist TS2 and TS3. So grab a cup of tea, sit down, let's get into this driver and actually see if Titleist finally have a driver that can compete with the big boys of Callaway and TaylorMade. Now, just remember, I am using the SkyTrack launch monitor to grab all my ball data, and here at the range here at Lake Karrinyup, we use NXT Tour S as our range ball, so that is the ball I used in the testing. Also, like I said in my Mizuno video, if you saw it last week, Cystic Fibrosis Golf Day coming up here on the 2nd of November. It is here to help raise awareness for cystic fibrosis, but like I said, there's a little girl in our community here at Lake Karrinyup Country Club that suffers from cystic fibrosis. So if you can, check the link down below in the description, get involved in that day. Here's your chance to play the magnificent Lake Karrinyup Country Club, enjoy a lunch and a dinner and help raise awareness of cystic fibrosis and help out that little girl that means a lot to us here at Lake Karrinyup Country Club, Lila. Like I said, Friday, 2nd of November, get into that day. But like I said, we're here for the Titleist review. Let's actually see for once if Titleist have got a driver that we can all appreciate that will go the distance and will go long, because that Titleist are saying this driver is all about speed. Now, as you can see coming up on the screen, I actually hit the TS3 first. So let's just talk about technology whilst you're watching the shots that are being hit. Now, it is a full titanium driver. Most of the other companies who are going for a long hitting driver have got some sort of composite mix, carbon fiber and something else and titanium, and then they're using miraging steel like the ping in the face to make it extremely hard so they can shave it down as much as they can so they can punch it out. Now Titleist has gone purely titanium because they think that if they can get the crown as thin as possible and the face as thin as possible, they can reduce weight. Now if you reduce weight, that increases club head speed. So this is a full titanium head and they do both look absolutely amazing. TS3 is the one that I'm hitting right now that you can see come up on the screen. That had a little bit of adjustability in the head. So we saw that adjustability in the previous model in the driver with that sliding weight that goes in and out of the head. They've done that again in the TS3, but they didn't do that in the TS2. But we'll talk about TS2 when we get to it in a second. Now, TS3 was absolutely amazing. It looked like a genuine Titleist driver. If you have seen all Titleist drivers and you've hit Titleist drivers before and you're a loyalist, you will know that this looks like a Titleist driver. But because the crown's thin, because they've reduced weight, because the face is thin and it's sleek design, it's all about speed. And it actually, for once, I can say, delivered. Titleist have finally got a driver that I actually think can deliver that long shot, and it looks amazing. Now I actually hit this in a 9.5 degree in the TS3 and I was using an even flow white shaft. Now I normally hit even flow with my Callaway Rogue, so it was a very, very good shaft for me to hit. Now if you're looking at the numbers, and I'm going to show you the numbers coming up on the screen with regards to averages. Now you'll see my average numbers coming across the bottom of the screen right now. Now I averaged roughly 99 club head speed. Now my club head speed was down today. It was at 97 with the TS3. Now my average ball speed is 140. I was getting 141. So that's a really good number considering the fact that my club head speed was down, but my ball speed was up. So that thin face that Titleist are talking about is actually working. So we do have a club face now off a Titleist that actually produces speed. So they've done a good job there. Spin numbers, 2872 is my average. Now this is the one thing I always have a gripe with Titleist drivers. 3062 was my average with the Titleist TS3. So that spin number is up a little bit high. My spin numbers are normally up a little bit high, but we all want to try and average around the 23, 24 mark, even lower if you can. But spin numbers were just a little bit too high. Funny enough, the ball flight on this ball was extremely high. And the launch average, my launch average is 12.7. I was getting 13.7 degrees of launch out of this. This thing went up quick and went really high. Now, I know my swing has a little bit of a fault with me hitting it a little bit high, but it went higher than most of my drivers I actually normally hit. This thing just launched high. And because of that spin numbers, it stayed up there. Smash factor 1.46, so it matched out. And then here we go, here's the big one. Total distance, my average is 222. Titleist have come out on front, 227. So the average was really good. Now, just giving you an idea with the TS3, my longest one with the TS3 was 235 and my shortest was 217. So there was a bit of a difference there between good and bad. But I tell you one thing, when I hit that one bad, I did really hit that one bad. But we all hit bad drivers, but it's good to know it still went 217. Now, if you can see from the image that's coming up on the screen roughly right about now, you can see there was a tendency for this driver to go right to left. Now, I set this one on A1 neutral standard, and I was still getting that right to left shape. And that is one thing I noticed with this driver is it was very hard for me to hit one right. So for all you guys out there that hit that left to right shot, this driver might help you. So there you have it, TS3. It performed, it did its job. Titleist have a driver now that can actually combat the rest of the market. Let's take a closer look now at the TS2. Okay, TS2, again, 9.5 degree head. I again hit it in the even flow white shaft, as you can see from the pictures coming up on the screen. Again, this driver performed really, really well. And we'll get into numbers in a sec. Now, same technology as the TS3. Thin face, thin crown, lightweight, all about speed. But here's the difference. This is a driver now that doesn't have that adjustability slider that we had in the TS3. This thing is a little bit different. Now, for a Titleist loyalist, you'll put this head down and you will think to yourself, this is very different. This looks a little bit odd, because it is different. This face or this head is slightly longer, and it is there for the person who needs to get it up in the air or needs that little bit of help to get it up in the air. TS2 does that. It does launch quite high. But in saying that, if you're looking at my numbers that were coming up on the screen, you'll notice that the TS3 went as high as the TS2. But the TS2 is a little bit more forgiving because that weight is further back, CG locations a little bit, it's going to be that little bit more forgiving for you. So here's a driver for you to look at if you're that slightly high handicap. The other thing that I noticed about this driver was when I put it down on the ground, the face was sat a little bit more open than the TS3. Now, when I hit my first few couple of shots, I was a little bit uncomfortable with this and I leaked a few to the right. But then I got a little bit of confidence and I started to turn through it a little bit harder and I started to get that genuine right to left shape. Now, it is definitely, these two heads do generally shape right to left. So keep that in mind. If you're the person who slices it, this drive is going to be good for you, because I will honestly say most of my shots, I will say 80% of my shots went right to left. Now, longest drive with this was 234, shortest drive 217, exactly the same as the TS3, give or take a meter. So when I hit that bad one, again, it dropped out short. When I hit that good one, it went quite long. But let's look at the averages and let's see if TS2 is doing the same as TS3. 99 was my average, 96 was with this one. Ball speed 140, ball speed 140. Spin 2872 is my average, 3098. Again, this driver spun a little bit more, but like I said, it launched high and it stayed up in the air, and that's probably because the spin numbers kept it up there. Launch 13.1, it went lower off the face than the TS3, but overall that was an average. There were a couple there that went extremely high. Smash factor again, 1.46, matches up. And then total distance, 224 I should say carry distance 224, mine's 222. So again, the Titleist driver has performed and it has done better than my averages. But the big thing there for me is the big thing is that my club head speed was down, but I was still getting more distance than my average. So Titleist finally have done it. Yes, I was a bit critical of it at first. I thought, here we go, another driver that's going to be good and accurate but wasn't going to get the distance. Titleist finally have a driver that has the distance in it, and they performed really well. Final thoughts, TS2, slightly higher handicap player, TS3, more the player handicapper. But there are guys here who work in the shop with me that have hit the TS2 and thought the TS2 was better than TS3. So it's going to come down to you. Get out there, go try them and see which one best suits you. The shaft array is huge, so make sure you get fit and make sure you get the right shaft. This driver does perform. Like I said, Titleist finally have a driver that can actually challenge the rest. Anyway, moving forward, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Like I said, release date is today. Get out there and go try this driver. Leave a comment in the comment section and let me know how you went with those drivers. And then like I always say, most of all, we'll catch you next time on ND Golf.